Hello children, happy to see you again. How are you all? I hope you are fine and good. I am Dakshayani, handling biology from Bharadasnar Metric Higher Secondary School, Arakonam. Children, today we are going to see chapter 2 in 11th standard botany. The chapter name is Plant Kingdom. So, in the previous session we have discussed about the bryophytes, right? So, now let us recap what do you mean by bryophytes, right? What is the meaning of bryophytes, children? Yes, bryo means amphibians. So, they are said to be the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Amphibians of plant kingdom. And why? Why the bryophytes are called as the amphibians? What is the answer, children? Yes, very good. The bryophytes survive on the land, but at the time of fertilization, at the reproduction time, they require water. So, they survive, they need both the terrestrial life as well as the aquatic life. Hence, we say they are the amphibians of the plant kingdom. And then, who is the father of bryology? Indian bryology? Yes, very good. Shivram Kashyap. Shivram Kashyap. So, and in the previous session we have discussed about the general characteristic features of the bryophytes and the economic importance. And in the economic importance we discussed one new thing, right? What is it, children? Sphagnum. Yes, sphagnum, it is used as a peat and it is used in the preparation of dyes, it is used as a food, it is used as a fuel, it is also used as a bio-fertilizer, right? So, today we are going to discuss about the pteridophytes. So, now let us see the general characteristic features and why they are called as a pteridophytes. So, pteridophytes are seedless. Pteridophytes do not produce seeds. So, they are said to be seedless. So, pteridophytes are seedless vascular cryptogams. What do you mean by vascular, children? Yes, vascular means they possess the vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. Xylem for the conduction of water and phloem for the conduction of food, right? So, one mark question is asked in this, children. This pteridophytes, they were the first group of plants to possess the vascular system. In the previous sessions we studied about the algae, bryophytes, they do not have the vascular tissues. But these are the first plant groups, pteridophytes, which possesses the vascular tissues. And now let us see some of the examples of this pteridophytes. The first example is Selaginella. What is the name of this plant, children? Yes, Selaginella. It is an ornamental plant. We can see in the bouquets, the decorations and all, we can see this Selaginella. And some other examples are Equistum, right? And here the common name for this is horsetail. It resembles a horsetail, children. So, the common name for this is horsetail. And what is the scientific name, children? Equisetum. And this plant, it looks very beautiful, right? So, it is a Lycopodium. The scientific name of this pteridophyte is Lycopodium. And the common name, we call it as a club moss. They occur in groups like a moss. So, we say it as a club moss. So, these are all the examples. What are all the examples we studied? Selaginella, Equisetum and Lycopodium. And now, we are going to see the general characteristic features of the pteridophytes. And here, majority of this space is sporophyte. The pteridophytes, the dominant phase is sporophyte, right? And here the roots are adventitious. When we say the roots is adventitious, children, yes? What is the other name of adventitious? Fibrous root, right? When the roots arises from the stem, when the roots arises from the stem directly like this, we say it as a adventitious roots. And next about the stem. Stem we can say it as a monopodial or dichotomous. Just I will explain you what do you mean by monopodial. For example, from this soil, right, only a single stem arises and from that the many branches arises like this. So a single stem is there. So such condition we say it as monopodial. And some plants are dichotomous. Dichotomous means from the ground it arises into two. It divides into, the stem divides into two major branches and from this the new branch starts to originate like this. So this type of development we say it as dichotomous, right? So monopodial and dichotomous. And leaves are microphyllous and megaphyllous. What I mean by micro? Micro means small. Phyllis refers to the leaf arrangements, that is the leaves. So some plants may possess very small leaves, right? Example, we can say Lycopodium. They bear very small leaves. Megaphyllous. Mega means large. Mega means large. Phyllis means leaves. So some plants possess the large leaves, right? Example, terries. We shall see the later image of the terries. So these are all some of the general characters. We discussed about the root, stem and the leaves. And now we are going to see about the stele. What is a stele? A stele includes, for example, if you cut a root or a stem or a leaf, you can see the stele inside, right? Any systems, if you take, for example, if you take a root, right, you can see the outermost layer, epidermis, right, epidermis, and then you can see the cortex, right, like this cortex, and inner to the cortex you can see the pericycle. You can see the pericycle, and inner to the pericycle you can see the xylem and the phloem vessels. So a stele is the inner part of a bundle shaped structure which is present inside the root or a stem. It consists of a xylem, phloem and sometimes a pith, right? And stele in some plants it is protostele. What do you mean by protostele? If the vascular bundle, if the stele possesses inside if xylem is present and outside that if the phloem is present, if the xylem is surrounded by the phloem, we say it as a protostele, right? Same, sometimes the stele may be siphonostele. What do you mean by siphonostele? Siphonostele means xylem is surrounded by the phloem, but in the center pith is present. In the center what is present? Pith is present. So the stele may be protostele or a siphonostele. And some plants possess the tracheids. What is the use of tracheids? Tracheids, the main function is conduction of water. It conducts water. So conduction of water in some plants of pteridophytes it takes place through the tracheids, but in some plants it takes place through the vessels. Vessels in the sense xylem. Okay, and now we are going to study about the spores. Just look into this picture, children. You can see some group of structures in the leaves, right? So such cone shaped structures we can say it as a strobilus. Cone shaped structures we can say it as a strobilus. right? So all the spores are grouped to form a cone shaped structures called as a strobilus. So just look into this picture and here, right, you can see the spores arranged. We can call it as a sporophyll. The leaf we call it as a sporophyll. On that the cones, it is arranged, the spores are arranged in a cone shaped structure called as a strobilus. Just look into this. It's a cone shaped, right? The spores are arranged in a cone shaped structure. We call it as a strobilus. And we discussed that pteridophytes, the majority is a sporophytic phase, right? So spore formation is maximum. So here it produces two types of spores. In one condition we can say it as a homosporous, but in some cases heterosporous. For example, homosporous means the spores are similar, only one type of spores is produced. But in the case of heterosporous, different types of spores, that is a microspores as well as a megaspores, two different types of spores are produced. So homosporous and heterosporous. So now we are going to see about the arrangement of the spores. In some plants the spores may be present as a single unit like this. So such cases we can say it as a eusporangiate. But in some cases it may be arranged in groups like this. So such type of arrangement we say it as leptosporangiate. Here they may ask in differentiate children, eusporangiate, leptosporangiate, and then in stem we studied about the dichotomous branch, right, and in leaves we studied about the megasporophyll and the microsporophyll, and tracheids and the vessel. They will ask in the differentiation questions. And the spores, right, the spores develops to produce the structure called prothallus. What is this green shaped structure, children? Prothallus. And from the prothallus only the male as well as the female parts develop. What is a female part here? Antheridium. Antheridium is a female, it's a male part. And archegonium, it is a female part of the present on the prothallus. And now we can see the structure of the antheridium and the archegonium. Just look into the structure, children. It is an antheridium. You can see it has a spermatids. It possesses the male gametes, right? And it has a basal stalk. It is attached to the structure by means of a basal stalk. And this antheridium possesses the spermatids, right? The sperms we call it as anthrozoids. What is the structure produced by antheridium? Anthrozoids. This anthrozoid swims in water and reach the archegonium. So this is the structure of the archegonium. It consists of the neck cells. Just look into this. It consists of the neck cells inside, and then the egg cells, and at last the venter. Venter is present between the neck cells and the egg cells, right? So this is the structure of the what? It is the structure of the archegonium. So the anthrozoids swim in water and reaches the archegonium, and the spores fuse, right? So it undergoes the meiosis, cell division, and the spores are formed. And now one important term, children, what is apogamy and what do you mean by apospory? Apogamy means formation of, just write in your book, formation of haploid gametes without fertilization. We say it as apogamy. And what is apospory? We studied that in the majority, which is dominant in the pteridophytes? Sporophyte is dominant. So, the development of the diploid gametophyte from diploid sporophyte. Yes, this we say it as apospory. Yes, we studied, no children, the spores undergo the meiosis cell division and they possess the prothallus, and from the prothallus only what is produced? The antheridium and the archegonium and the gametes are produced. So, the development of the diploid gametophyte from the diploid sporophyte, we say it as a apospory. And now the person called Reimer. What was the name of the person? Reimer. He classified the pteridophytes. Let us read it. Psilophytopsida, Psiloptopsida, Lycopsida, Sphenopsida and Pteropsida. So, these are all the classes from which the pteridophytes have been classified, and they were divided into 19 orders and 48 families. 48 families, and this classification was given by Reimer. And now let us look into the economic importance. Remogra adentiformis. So, this is the image of this plant, children, and what is the main use of it? That it is used in the flower cuttings, that is in the ornamental, right, in the formation of in the making the bouquets. So, it is ornamental and it is used in the arrangement of flowers, cutting of flowers, arrangement of flowers. So, next it is a Marsilia. Marsilia we can see in the water bodies, children, and the main economic importance of this is it is used as a food. It is used as a food for the cattle. And it is a water fern. The scientific name of it is Azolla, right? You can see many farmers cultivate Azolla in their farm. They dry it, they compress it and use it as a bio fertilizer. So, Azolla. Dryopteris felixmas, right? So, this plant, the sap obtained from this plant is used in a treatment of tapeworm. The person who suffer from taniasis, the disease caused by tapeworm, we call it as taniasis. So, it is used to cure it. Next, the plant name Pteris vittata. This is the image of the plant Pteris vittata, and it is used to identify the heavy metals from the soil, remove heavy metals from the soil. So, the function is bioremediation. Pteridium, right? Pteridium, the sap obtained from this plant is used as a green dye. They obtain green dye from this plant, Pteridium. Eucusitum, right? Eucusitum, it is very beautiful, right, children? So, these are all used as a ornamental flower. So, Eucusitum, Lycopodium and then Selaginella. These are all grown in the schools, colleges and many offices as the ornamental plants. So, children, so far we discussed about the pteridophytes. We discussed why they are called as a seedless vascular cryptogams, and then we studied about their general characteristic features, and then we discussed about their economic importance. And now let me ask you some questions. Who classified pteridophytes, children? Yes? Yes, very good, Reimer. Very good. So, along with this we have attached the study material and assessment and question bank for this lesson, children. So, just go through the questions. So, I will ask you some questions from it. Green dye is obtained from? Yes, Lokesh, very good. Pteridium. Yes. So, children, with this session comes to an end. Thank you.